Today was a massive leak of news for the S26, and we're first going to take a look at the S26 Plus. This is what it looks like, no big surprise. If I showed it to you, you probably wouldn't even think it looked different. Reportedly, are we going to see it in orange? Maybe. So that's what that looks like. 6.7 inch, 120 hertz AMOLED display, Exynos 2600 if you live in certain countries, Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 if you live in America and a couple of other countries, Japan, and I can't remember what the other one was. You can put it in the comments down below if you remember. 50 megapixel main camera with a 12 megapixel ultra wide and a 12 megapixel 3x telephoto. You've got that 12 megapixel front camera, 4900 milliamp battery. It's going to launch with One UI 8.5 and Android 16. Not really any big surprises on that, but still, if you're hoping for this one, obviously it'll be a stronger, more powerful version of this phone than last year's. This is really interesting, this next one. It has to do with the release date. We heard that the release date or launch date would be February 25th, and then I did the math and said, hey, March 13th would be the actual release date, because they always do it, they do it on a Friday and 2 weeks later after the launch date. And looking at this is that potentially this is going to end up coming out at the same time as we had expected, the end of January. It'll be a launch in end of January and then launch or be released in February, a couple weeks into February, which they're saying, at least the latest rumors about this, and I told you this would probably go back and forth, but the latest rumors are saying that basically they figured out their issues and falling behind. They've caught up to that. And now they're at that point where like, hey, we can do it now. We can release this phone in time. Like you've been expecting all throughout time, and it won't be delayed at all, and it'll come out and be launched at the end of January and be in your hands by February. So I guess that's good news. I mean, you don't have to wait as long, that's for damn sure, if this ends up being true. It's obviously a rumor, nothing's written in stone with that, but it's a positive rumor at that. Now, this is, I love this next thing. Some people are going to hate it. I love it. Now, if you look at the Galaxy S26 Ultra and 25 Ultra, you can tell that the camera is bigger. The whole camera punch on the display is bigger than what it has been in the past. And the reason being, it's a good reason. It's not just because they want it to be bigger. The reason for it is that the display is obviously going to have that camera on there, but the camera is going to ultimately be wider view. So when you're taking selfie photos of yourself, it's going to be a wide, or you and your friends and family, it's going to be a wider view, and it's going to be the same millimeters as the main camera reportedly. So you would when you take a photo of yourself with the back camera, it's nice and wide. This would be the same thing, but on the front as well. I love this. This is honestly one of the best upgrades I've seen on here. I know we're getting a nice, more powerful processor, and a better display and things like that, faster charging. But this, I love this. I use the selfie camera a lot, and I love that because of the display is there, and for it to be wider is just so freaking great. You can fit more people in. You can don't have to pull your hand out as far. Hopefully videos will be more of a wide angle on there. I just absolutely love this. It's going from 23 millimeters to 24 millimeters. And the 5x zoom has been increased from 115 millimeters to 120 millimeters. So like there's some cool stuff coming out about this camera, especially that front camera. I love it. It's such a great thing. Again, I know some people would be like, oh man, it got bigger. I don't want it to get bigger. I don't look at that as a downside at all. It's more of a like, hey, which one would I rather have? And I'd much rather have a slightly bigger camera hole, but be able to take much bigger, much more wider photos. First jump off here with the S26 Ultra front camera, the camera that's on the front of the display. Yesterday we mentioned that the camera hole is bigger, and it's bigger because we're going to get a wider view. And I forgot to show this off, what the images are going to look like with that new front camera there. So basically this is a representation of what we're going to end up seeing width-wise when you're looking at the photo. You can see on the left you get the S25 Ultra, and it's pretty good in terms of what you can see, but then with the new 23 millimeter camera on the front side of the S26 Ultra, you can literally see the arms completely, you can see the face a lot more, It's awesome. I said it yesterday, it's probably one of my favorite upgrades about this phone. There's nothing better when you're a content creator or you're taking photos of your friends and family or yourself and you want to see more of what's around you. This is an amazing, amazing thing here, and I love it. So I just wanted to kind of show that real quick. Next up about the Galaxy S26 Ultra is the measurements for this. Now, I wanted to talk about the measurements because with the measurements of the device, you're going to have the full measurements. These are quote unquote official from Phone Art, aka Ice Universe, saying that you can see 6.3, 6.7, and 6.9 will be the display sizes. But then beyond that, it shows you that the devices have been thinned out, at least some of them have, especially the Ultra 7.9 millimeters, 163.6 millimeters, and then 78.1 millimeters. And I looked it up because I didn't remember it, so I wanted to get the actual dimensions for the S25 Ultra in dimension. So first of all, the height of 162.8 on the Ultra is now 163, so it's taller. And then you're also looking at the width, which is 77.6 on the 25 Ultra, is now 78.1, so it's a little bit wider. And then also it's thinner. So like they made it thinner, it sounds like, just by, widening and making this thing a little bit taller, which is completely fine with me. I'd rather have a thinner phone than a, I guess, short and fat phone for sure, especially at that matter. So yeah, looking pretty good right there. Another improvement, the thinness on there and the weight as well has been reduced. But I think the biggest upgrade, and this looks like it's officially been locked in, is that we are finally, after 6 years of the same charging speeds, finally getting improved charging on the S26 Ultra. It's going to be 60 watt wired versus 45 watt wired on the 25 Ultra, and 25 watt wireless charging. It has the magnets built into the phone, and it's going, so it's up to 25 watts. Last year, it was, in the years before, 15 watts. So 2 huge improvements in charging. And it should have happened, honestly, a while ago, but I guess they wanted to wait until everything was ironed out and everything was ready, especially on the wireless side. Qi 2 wireless charging, if I'm not mistaken, the 25 watt wireless charging official is only like a year or 2 old at this point. So it's not like they've delayed it all that much, but this is awesome news. I love this. This phone, like I mentioned, it's got some upgrades that are coming to it that are pretty cool, and enough to where some of you are definitely going to want to upgrade. So I'm looking forward to it. We've got some massive news. You can probably see from the headline, Samsung's Galaxy Trifold is coming out this year. I didn't think it was going to happen. I said it wouldn't happen now, and it looks like it is happening now. Ice Universe has put out a tweet based off of an article from Korea saying Samsung will release a triple fold smartphone on December 5th, featuring a 6.5-inch outer screen and a 10-inch inner screen when unfolded. It measures 4.2 millimeters in thickness. That's the same thickness as the Galaxy Z Fold 7. And when folded, it measures 14 millimeters. The battery capacity is 5,600 milliamps. So a lot to unpack in just this little bit of article. First of all, December 5th is about 3 weeks away from the time of making this video. I didn't think it was gonna happen. I thought that they would not have this released until next year, because they're not even putting this out during the biggest shopping week of the year, Black Friday out here. Now, it's still the holiday season rush of shopping, but I think it shows a couple things there that we've heard that they're not going to make a lot of these. So I don't think they think it's going to sell a lot. It also shows that one of two things. Maybe they won't release it in America, but I've got a counterpoint to that, why I think they will. But December 5th, slightly after that shopping season, maybe they're like, hey, we're going to release this only in Korea and China, and not UAE and also USA. Maybe they'll only do it the other first 2 countries I mentioned. That possibly could be why. 5,600 milliamp though, that's the counteraction. And I say that because the reason we haven't seen bigger, huge batteries in phones, and you could use OnePlus as an example to counteract what I'm saying, but from Samsung and Apple and other manufacturers, is that reportedly airlines don't want you to travel with large battery capacities on a plane, or stow it away on your luggage that you're going to check in. And that makes sense. That part, most people I don't think would check in their phone, but who knows, maybe somebody would. So what I think is, by showing that they're going to release a 5,600 milliamp battery, is I think that leads credence to that we're going to end up seeing this come out in the United States because the battery is so small. But at the other side of that is like, that battery is pretty small, especially for a 10-inch display. Think about if your tablet had a 5,600 milliamp battery. It would be crazy. It'd be insanely small. I would guess this is definitely not going to get better battery life than the Galaxy Z Fold 7. I would guess it'd be about the same at best, maybe potentially less though, because it's so small. I don't think we're going to see really good battery life on this. I think that would be a huge weak point to this. Gladly be wrong. Maybe they figured something out. Maybe they added some new technology that they're throwing in the S26 phones, some kind of AI battery technology that really enhances the usage of the phone. I don't know, but it is really small, and it seems like it's probably gonna have really bad battery life. They didn't mention price. We've heard everything from about $3,000 to $4,000, somewhere in that range. I kind of think that's where it will sit. I've seen people commenting saying $5,000. I don't think it'll be that much. I think it'll sit at $3,000, no more than $3,500. You think about what they have for devices with the Galaxy Z Fold 7, sitting a little bit below $2,000. They have their Galaxy XR headset that sits a couple $100 below $2,000. This might even come at $2,500. Who knows? I don't think it'll be lower than $2,500. I don't think it'll be more than $3,500. So I think it's like the real range is $2,500 to $3,500. And then, like, when are we going to see this? December 5th, obviously, but they haven't announced anything. Like, they've got to start announcing, like, this phone, like, a show it off. They got to build a little bit of anticipation. They might not have a huge show about it, but they've got to build a little bit of anticipation about it to let us know, hey, this is what's going on. This is what it has. This is the features that it can do. This is what it looks like. Build that hype up. So I would guess in the next couple of weeks, no more than 2 weeks, if not 1 week, I would guess this week, maybe not, who knows? Today, tomorrow, we're going to get an announcement that they're going to have a show about this in the next week or two. And then December 5th, you could have it in hand. We're talking about the Galaxy Z Trifold again, because some more information has been leaked out. Now, when I released my video yesterday, if you saw it, which we went through a bunch of details about the Trifold, a couple of the things that were left off, I ended up finding out. Those being the price being $3,000 most likely. I know I mentioned I personally thought it would be $2,500 to $3,500, and it looks like it's going to be $3,000. So it does sit in line with kind of what I was thinking, $1,000 more or less than the Galaxy Z Fold 7. Now, also release on it, like where is it going to be released? We still don't know for sure if America is one of those countries. There's been rumors about the country, USA and the UAE, but definitely it looks like China and South Korea at the very least. December 5th being that release date when it would be, I guess, in people's hands or at least shipped out to them. But Evan Blass put out a tweet as well saying final retail branding, it's called the Galaxy Z Trifold. That's the official name for this device, with the displays at 6.5 inches on that cover display and 10 inches on the inner display. Again, what we've been hearing, what we've seen. Brightness, this is something new. So the peak brightness would be 2600 and 1600 nits respectively. So what that sounds like is 6.5 inch screen will go up to 2600 nits, and the inside display, the 10 inch display, will be 1600 nits, which is kind of low, let's be honest, but you're gonna, I don't know, if you buy it, are you gonna be using it outside a lot? It might not look that great outside. It's still pretty bright, like you should obviously be able to see it outside, but not nearly as good as you can see like a Galaxy S26 Ultra, for instance, on there. Thickness of the device varies, 3.94, 4.2, but ultimately it's 4.2, which is the same as the Trifold from Huawei. And that's with, I believe that's with the camera bump. So at 4.2, I think it's 3.9 without the camera bump and all that. Main camera will be 200 megapixels. That's a great thing to have there, to have that. Basically the best camera that they currently have on here, 200 megapixels. Battery, he's saying 5437, but usually when that's like the rated battery size, and then there's like a real other sized battery in terms of how they measure it. So that it should be 5600 milliamps. Still pretty low for such a huge device. And it's gonna be powered by a Snapdragon. It should be the Snapdragon 8 Elite, not the newer 8 Elite Gen 5. It shouldn't be that. It should be the new 8 Elite. What's going on with this? That's the real case. Like, is it going to come out in America? Is it going to come out in other places? We just don't fully know. A lot of people ask. We're not getting any answers, which kind of surprises me at the same time, that people don't actually know. They just know a couple of the specs or most of the specs about the device. I would be curious about what's the actual charging speed. Is it 25 watt, 45 watt, or is it the new 60 watt? I would guess it's probably going to be 45 watt. Maybe 25 watt, either one. I guess 25 watt is what I would expect, because that would match the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and it would give people a reason to upgrade if they come out with this next year to a 60 watt version, if they end up doing that. The camera, I love that they put 200 megapixel on there. Battery size is small. The brightness is pretty low on that bigger display, but it's still definitely usable. I wouldn't be that fretful about it. There's laptops that have like 400 nits, and those are really hard to see outside. 1600 nits, you'll be able to see it outside. I'm not that concerned with it. But other than that, it's a device that is going to be $3,000, super expensive, limited release, even if it is released in certain parts of the world where you live. And we're only a couple of weeks away now at this point. Are you guys going to try to import it, or hopefully it gets released where you live? Let me know. And what do you think its 3 high points are and its 3 weak points? I think right off the bat, 3 high points are, obviously it's a tri-folding phone that's so cool and different. The huge 10-inch display is really cool. And I love that it has a 200 megapixel camera. I think the weak points, oh, and it's really thin. You could add that in as well. But the weak points, I think, are going to be the battery, the fragility potentially of the device. Is it going to break pretty easily or not? Anything like me, charging is very important to you. And as you know, as I've said before, the Galaxy S26 phones, the Ultra especially, is going to have faster charging on both ends, the wired and the wireless. And if we look at this, some of the phones are not getting an upgrade, or at least they are, but maybe not as much as we had thought. So the S26 will stay at 25 watts, but now the wireless charging is going to be set to 20 watts wireless. So it's going up from 15 to 20. So it is a speed increase, and it obviously should still have those magnets in the back there to give it MagSafe charging. A huge upgrade. I love it. 26 Plus, 45 watt wired. It had that last year as well, and 20 watt wireless. Again, jump from 15 to 20. So a nice little upgrade on that way. At the very least, you're getting faster wireless on the 26 and 26 Plus. And then on that Ultra, you're going to go all the way up to 60 watts to really differentiate it in terms of feature set versus the Plus. And that will get 60 watt wired and 25 watt wireless. And when we look at some of the charging metrics on last year's versions, and when we look at these metrics, you can tell that the S25 Ultra, 45 watt versus something like on a 42 watt of the 17 Pro Max, more or less same kind of battery, a little bit more on the 25 Ultra. So it's probably about equal on there, 59 minutes with 45 watts versus 1 hour, 12 minutes on 42 watts, but it has a slightly smaller battery. More or less, give or take, it's about the same, if not a couple minutes faster on the S25 Ultra. S25 takes an hour and 17 minutes, even though it's got that smaller battery. Then you've got the 17 Pro. And then if we look down all the way on this, the slowest one is the iPhone Air with only 18 watt, taking an hour, 33 minutes. But that phone's sounding like it's probably not going to come back next year based off sales, but we'll wait and see. But regardless, you're getting the S26. Everything's getting a bump in charging, at least on the wireless side. And then the S26 Ultra is the only phone that's getting it both on the wired and wireless. All of them should have magnets in the back for MagSafe charging. Loving this, guys. This is going to be great. We're going to jump right into this with the S25 series versus S26 series weights. They're going up a little bit in some of the phones. So the S26 weighs 164 grams versus 162 on the regular S25, so a 2 gram increase. S26 Plus, 191 grams, S25 Plus, 190 grams. So about the same, but 1 more gram on the S26 Plus. On the S26 Ultra, 214 grams, Ultra 25, 218, so 4 grams less. So the only phone out of all 4 that's going to be less in weight is the S26 Ultra. The other 2 will be a little bit heavier, but more or less you probably really won't notice that much of a difference. Why? I don't know if it has to do, I'm not sure why. Obviously it's building materials in there. They're probably not going to, maybe they're adding extra stuff. Maybe it's gonna feel a little bit more premium in your hand. But as for why it's like a little bit of a difference, I don't know, because the batteries didn't get bigger, I know that on them. But continuing on with the weights, if you're curious, because if you're say coming from the iPhone or something like that, the iPhone has also, we got some measurements here as well, showing that the weights on all 3 of the new S26s, the 26, 26 Plus, 26 Ultra, are somewhat significantly less weight than the iPhone 17s. They're even a lot thinner too, up to, man, over 1 millimeter thinner on some of these. That's crazy. Yeah, a lot thinner as well. So it's a pretty nice, and it's been like that year over year anyway. But if if you're into thinner, lighter devices and you're trying to pick between the iPhones and Galaxy phones, you're definitely going to want to go with Galaxy. They're lighter and thinner for sure. And the 26 Ultra is lighter, thinner already by 0.3 versus last year's generation as well. Now, we've been talking about the Galaxy Z Trifold. That's the official name. And we've known a little bit about it from the camera, the 200 megapixel camera being the same thinness as a Galaxy Z Fold 7 when it's laid out in its entirety. But we also know, and the other thing we should actually talk about is US or not, and that's what this has to do with. Samsung has reportedly begun firmware testing for the unlocked US variant of the Galaxy Z Trifold. The following previous testing that was spotted for the carrier-locked model, the device is rumored to be fully unveiled on December 5th. Key specifications from rumors include, as I've said before, the phone is expected to have a limited launch, with the US being the only Western market currently slated to receive it. So it looks like it's a foregone conclusion that this will come out in the US, especially because there's an unlocked US variant firmware version of this. February 5th is right around the corner, guys. We're at November 16th at the time of making this video. That is like 21 days or something like that from now. Are you gonna buy it? Are you going to buy it and then return it? Or are you going to buy it and keep it? What are you going to do? Let me know in the comments down below. And it's probably going to be about $3,000. That's the other thing. So we'll see you guys down the road. Peace.